For countless cycles, the Valdorian Empire stretched across the galaxy like a vast, glittering web. We were the undisputed masters of 1,000 star systems. Our technology was indistinguishable from magic to lesser species. Our fleet commanders could snuff out suns with a single command. We were gods among the stars, walking the void as lesser beings crawled upon their homeworlds. Humanity wasn't even a footnote in our grand history when we first detected their primitive radio signals, just another developing species on a blue-green world circling an unremarkable star. Our scout ships observed them from orbit, catalogued their languages and cultures, and moved on. The Valdorian High Council designated Earth as a potential resource world to be harvested once the inhabitants reached an acceptable level of development. I remember the day we returned to Earth, 5 of their centuries later. I was first observer on the diplomatic vessel sent to make first contact. The humans had spread across their solar system by then, crude habitats on their moon, mining operations on Mars, research stations orbiting their gas giants. Primitive, but promising. They've developed faster than projected, my second-in-command noted as we analyzed their communications. Their theoretical understanding of space-time exceeds their manufacturing capabilities. Theoretical knowledge is worthless without application, I replied, reciting an old Valdorian proverb. They pose no threat. How wrong I was. The humans accepted our arrival with awe and reverence, just as thousands of species had before them. They marveled at our translucent ships that bent light around them, at our immortal bodies, at the casual way we manipulated gravity and energy. Their leaders met with ours, exchange protocols were established, and soon enough, the first human delegates were invited to tour our homeworld. That's when everything changed. The humans learned quickly, too quickly. Where other species had taken generations to comprehend even the basics of our technology, humans adapted and improvised with frightening speed. They asked questions no newcomer species had ever dared to ask. They noticed patterns and connections that had eluded others for millennia. There's something different about them, the High Chancellor said during an emergency council meeting. Their minds work differently. They see connections where others see only chaos. The first sign of trouble came when a human research team somehow gained access to our restricted archives. They discovered the fate of other species who had been uplifted by the Valdorians, only to be subjugated once they'd served their purpose. They learned about the worlds we had stripped of resources, the civilizations we had engineered into servitude. Within a decade, human ships began appearing with modifications we'd never shared with them. Their weapons systems evolved along paths we hadn't anticipated. They formed alliances with species we kept isolated from each other for centuries. And then came the day when a fleet of human vessels surrounded one of our harvester ships as it prepared to strip mine an inhabited moon. The transmission we received was brief. The stars don't belong to you anymore. Now, as I stand on this observation platform watching human ships take position around our homeworld, I can't help but wonder. In all our thousands of years of conquest, how did we never learn that sometimes the prey becomes the predator? The humans call their flagship the Defiance, a fitting name for the vessel now positioned directly above our capital city. Its hull bears the scars of previous encounters with our forces, encounters they shouldn't have survived. The ship's commander, a gray-haired woman with eyes that have seen too much war, waits patiently for our surrender. She knows we have nowhere to run. First observer, my aide whispers, approaching with a data crystal. The council requests your immediate presence. I nod silently, eyes still fixed on the human vessels above. A century ago, I had watched human children playing in parks during our initial survey of Earth. How quickly they'd grown from curious creatures into our reckoning. The High Council chamber feels different today. Gone is the casual arrogance, the certainty of superiority that has guided our civilization for 50,000 years. The 12 elders sit in troubled silence, their ancient faces marked with an emotion I've rarely seen among our kind. You were there from the beginning, says the High Chancellor, her voice lacking its usual resonance. Tell us what we missed. Tell us how they outmaneuvered the greatest empire the galaxy has ever known. I hesitate, knowing my words will be recorded for whatever remains of our history. We believed ourselves to be shepherds of lesser species, guiding them toward enlightenment while harvesting what we needed. But humans, they recognized the pattern almost immediately. Impossible, one of the elders interrupts. Their civilization is barely 20,000 years old. They couldn't possibly comprehend. But they did, I counter. They have an unusual capacity for pattern recognition, and an even more unusual tendency to resist what they perceive as control. While we studied them, they were studying us. While we planned generations ahead, they adapted in real time. The memory of a particular human scientist comes to mind. A young woman who had toured our bioengineering facilities. While other visitors had been overwhelmed by our achievements, she had asked pointed questions about genetic sequences that were supposed to be invisible to primitive eyes. Her name was Dr. Chen, I recall. Later, we discovered she'd led the team that developed countermeasures to our biological control methods. They reverse-engineered our phase technology, another elder says. They should have needed centuries to understand the principles, let alone apply them. The council chamber shudders slightly as something impacts the planetary shield above us. Not an attack, just a reminder of what waits. They didn't do it alone, I explain. After discovering our archives, they contacted other species we'd subjugated, shared knowledge, formed coalitions. The Terran Alliance now includes 17 formerly isolated species, all united against us. The High Chancellor's eyes narrow. And now, they want revenge. I shake my head. No, that's why we've never understood them. If revenge was their goal, they would have struck years ago when they first developed weapons capable of harming us. They want justice, a concept we abandoned millennia ago. The communications officer bursts into the chamber, his composure broken. The human commander is requesting to speak directly with the council. She says, he falters. She says time is running out. Their scans have detected activity in our deep core facilities. The council members exchange alarmed glances. Our last resort weapon, capable of tearing a hole in space-time large enough to swallow entire star systems, was indeed being prepared. But how could they know? The High Chancellor rises slowly. Put her through. The holographic image of the human commander materializes in the center of our ancient council chamber. Her expression is not triumphant or hateful, but resolute. This is Commander Wei of the Terran Alliance, she says. We know what you're planning. You should know that we've evacuated the inhabited worlds in this sector. But I'm here to offer you something your kind has rarely offered others, a choice. Commander Wei's hologram stands unwavering before the Valdorian High Council, her military uniform bearing insignias I don't recognize, symbols of alliances formed beyond our knowledge. The council chamber falls silent, every ancient being present contemplating what choice could possibly remain in this endgame we never anticipated. Your deep core weapon will tear a hole in reality. Wei continues, her voice steady. You believe it will destroy us and preserve your empire. Our scientists understand its mechanics better than you think. The dimensional rift won't just consume our fleet. It will cascade uncontrollably through this entire sector of the galaxy. You cannot possibly understand technology we've refined over 40,000 years, the High Chancellor responds, but her voice lacks conviction. Wei's expression doesn't change. Dr. Chen sends her regards. The name hits like a physical blow. The human scientist who had toured our facilities had done more than ask clever questions. She had planted quantum entanglement nodes throughout our research centers, infinitesimally small devices that transmitted our most guarded secrets back to Earth for decades. What choice do you offer? I ask, stepping forward despite protocol. The council members glare at my breach of hierarchy, but times of protocol seem laughably distant now. Transformation or isolation? Wei answers. Transform your empire into a cooperative alliance with equal standing for all species, or be isolated from the galactic community permanently. Half a galaxy away, another drama unfolds. The Valdorian mining colony on Proxima Centauri's fourth planet continues operations, unaware of the crisis at the homeworld. The colony overseer, 3rd Commander Velmax, receives a priority transmission not from Valdorian High Command, but from a human settlement on the system's second planet. "This is Dr. Haruki Yamamoto of New Horizon Colony," says the transmission. "Our sensors detect unusual seismic activity beneath your main extraction site. We believe you're drilling dangerously close to an unstable magma pocket." Velmax scoffs at the warning. Humans, concerned about Valdorian safety. Absurd. He orders the drilling to continue at accelerated pace. 6 hours later, as predicted, the ground beneath the colony's main processing facility collapses. Emergency containment fields fail. 300 Valdorian workers face certain death as superheated magma surges toward the habitat dome. Then, impossibly, human ships appear in the sky above. Not warships, but civilian vessels clearly repurposed for emergency response. They evacuate the Valdorian workers minutes before the facility is consumed by the planet's fury. Aboard the lead rescue ship, a confused Velmax confronts the human captain. "Why would you save us? We've harvested worlds your kind sought to protect. We've treated your species as resources rather than equals." The human captain, her dark skin glistening with sweat from the rescue effort, replies simply, "Because that's what humans do. We protect life when we can, even the lives of our enemies." Back in the council chamber, unaware of events at Proxima Centauri, the High Chancellor finally speaks. "And if we refuse both options?" Commander Way's hologram flickers slightly. "There is no third option. The weapons our alliance has positioned around your homeworld can disable your technology permanently without taking a single life. Your civilization would survive, but your days of interstellar travel and domination would end. You would trap us on our own world." An elder gasps. "The way you've trapped and harvested countless species across the galaxy." Y counters. "The difference is we're giving you a choice they never had." I step forward again, my mind racing. How can we trust that you won't become what we were? That once humans hold power over the galaxy, you won't follow the same path? Way's eyes meet mine directly. "That's why I'm here instead of simply attacking. That's why we evacuated civilians from this sector instead of letting them perish in the crossfire. That's why we're offering transformation instead of revenge." The council chamber's communication system suddenly activates with an incoming priority signal. It's from Proxima Centauri, from Velmax himself. His face appears beside Commander Way's hologram, his expression one of confusion and unwilling respect. "High Council," he begins, "humans just saved 300 of our people from certain death. They had every reason to let us perish. They chose differently." The High Chancellor rises slowly from her ancient seat, her eyes moving between Wei and Velmax. For the first time in my long life, I see something like uncertainty in her expression. And then the unthinkable happens. Our long-range sensors detect massive energy signatures materializing at the edge of our star system. Not human ships this time, but vessels of the Arcturian Collective, a species we had nearly exterminated centuries ago. Their ships are unlike anything in our records, technological marvels that shouldn't be possible. "It seems your alliance grows by the hour, Commander," the High Chancellor says quietly. Way's expression changes for the first time, showing genuine surprise. "Those aren't our allies. We have no diplomatic relations with the Arcturians." The lead Arcturian vessel broadcasts on all frequencies, its message clear and chilling. "The Valdorian threat ends today. We thank the humans for weakening their defenses, but mercy is a luxury the galaxy can no longer afford." Commander Way's hologram turns to face the High Chancellor, urgency replacing diplomacy. "Your choice just became more complicated. Decide quickly if you want human protection or Arcturian judgment." The council chamber erupts in chaos as the Arcturian fleet advances toward our homeworld. Ancestral enemies we believed extinct now possess technology that rivals our own. The irony is not lost on me. We who have ruled the stars for millennia now face extinction ourselves, caught between human mercy and Arcturian vengeance. Your decision, High Chancellor, Commander Wei urges, her hologram flickering as the Arcturians begin jamming our communications. We can establish a defensive perimeter, but only with your cooperation. The High Chancellor looks older than I've ever seen her, the weight of 50,000 years of Valdorian dominance crushing down on her shoulders. She turns to the Council. Put it to vote. Transformation or extinction. Outside, the sky darkens as the Arcturian vessels move into attack formation. Their ships are biological in nature, living metal grown rather than built, a technology we thought we had erased from the galaxy when we decimated their homeworld. 3 minutes until they're in firing range. An officer reports, panic edging into his voice. The Council votes swiftly for once, 11 in favor of alliance with humanity, 1 abstaining. The elder of military affairs, his pride intact even now. We accept transformation, the High Chancellor announces. Transmit access codes for our orbital defense grid to Commander Wei's ship. Wei nods sharply and vanishes, her hologram replaced by a tactical display showing human vessels moving to intercept the Arcturian fleet. It's a strange feeling, watching those we considered beneath us now risking their lives in our defense. Aboard the Defiance, Commander Wei takes her position on the bridge. Her executive officer, Lieutenant Rivera, looks skeptical. With respect, Commander, are we certain about this? The Arcturians have legitimate grievances against the Valdorians. What they suffered was genocide. Wei finishes. I know, but we didn't come here to replace one tyranny with another, or to stand by while another species is exterminated, even if they deserve it. She activates the ship-wide comm. All hands to battle stations. This is not the fight we came for. But it's the one history has given us. The first shots fired are not from humans or Arcturians, but from a small Valdorian scout ship piloted by none other than Velnax, the colonial administrator whose people were saved by humans at Proxima Centauri. His vessel darts between the opposing fleets, broadcasting on all frequencies. Arcturian Command. This is 3rd Commander Velnax. I request parley under the old codes. Surprisingly, the Arcturian advance halts. Their lead vessel, a massive living construct shaped like a manta ray spanning kilometers, opens communications. The Arcturian leader appears on screens across both fleets and in our council chamber. They are dramatically changed from our historical records. Partly mechanical now, their 4 eyes replaced with sensory clusters that pulse with internal light. The old codes died with our homeworld, Valdorian, the Arcturian leader says, their voice a harmonic blend of organic and synthetic tones. But we will hear you before we destroy you. Velnax's voice is steady. I witnessed humans risk their lives to save Valdorians who would have harvested their world without hesitation. They showed us a different path, one your people once followed before we corrupted the galaxy with our empire. Don't become what destroyed you. On the Defiance, Wei seizes the moment. Arcturian Command. This is Commander Wei of the Terran Alliance. We understand your desire for justice. We share it. But there's a difference between justice and revenge. You know nothing of our suffering. The Arcturian leader responds. Perhaps not yours specifically, Wei acknowledges, but humanity has its own dark history. We've committed atrocities against our own kind, driven species to extinction on our homeworld, poisoned our own air and water. We learned hard lessons about power and its abuse. In the council chamber, I realize what's happening. Humans aren't just negotiating for our survival. They're reshaping the very concept of power in the galaxy. Not through force, but through something we've never truly understood. Empathy. The Arcturian fleet holds position, but their weapons remain charged. Their leader speaks again, addressing the Valdorian High Council directly. Your empire harvested our world's core, destabilized our star, and left us to perish. Why should any Valdorian continue to exist? The High Chancellor rises, her ancient frame somehow straighter now. Because extinction solves nothing. Because we can transform. Because She hesitates, then finds words Valdorians have never before uttered. Because we were wrong. A tense silence falls across all channels. Aboard their ships, humans and Arcturians and Valdorians wait, the fate of 3 civilizations hanging in the balance. Then a new signal penetrates our communications. It originates from deep space, beyond our system's edge. The transmission resolves into the image of Dr. Chen, the human scientist who had infiltrated our research facilities, now flanked by representatives of a dozen species. Some I recognize as those we've subjugated, others unknown even to me. "This is the Galactic Reconciliation Council," she announces. "We've been monitoring this confrontation. What happens here today will determine whether the galaxy enters a new age or repeats the cycles of domination and revenge that have defined its past." The tactical displays suddenly light up with new signatures, hundreds of ships appearing from fold space, representing species from across the galaxy. Not just human allies or Arcturian reinforcements, but a gathering unlike anything in recorded history. "Choose carefully," Dr. Chen continues. "The galaxy is watching." In that moment, I understand what humans truly are. Not just another species to be harvested or feared, but catalysts for change. They've orchestrated not just a confrontation, but a transformation spanning thousands of worlds. The Arcturian leader's sensory clusters pulse rapidly. The High Chancellor's hands grip her ancient seat. Commander Wei stands motionless on her bridge, and throughout the star system, countless beings wait to see which path the future will take. The Arcturian flagship powers up its main weapon, a gravitational singularity capable of collapsing our planet's core. Our sensors detect human ships moving to intercept. Outnumbered, outgunned, but unwavering. "This isn't what we discussed," Dr. Chen says urgently to the Arcturian leader. "This was meant to be a demonstration, not an execution." Plans change. The Arcturian responds coldly. Some wounds cannot heal. The weapon reaches critical charge. The human ships form a defensive line, and I realize with sudden clarity that we're witnessing not just our potential end, but a pivotal moment for all sentient life. Then, from the council table, the lone dissenting elder activates a secure channel to the Arcturian vessel. His ancient face fills with an emotion I've never seen in him before, not anger or pride, but something far more devastating: recognition. "Sentinel Commander Tlaxu," he addresses the Arcturian leader. "You won't recognize me in this form, but I was there the day your world died. I gave the order. I gave the order." The elder's words hang in the silence, a confession spanning centuries. The Arcturian leader's sensory clusters pulse rapidly, their ship's weapons still charged and ready. "You were the battle commander, the one they called the Extinguisher." "Yes," the elder rises slowly. "I have lived 53 of your lifetimes with that decision. I believed it necessary then. I know better now." Commander Wei's voice cuts through the tension. "This is what cycles of violence create. Endless pain passed through generations. Someone must break the cycle." The Arcturian weapon powers down, not completely, but enough to signal hesitation. Their leader speaks again, voice modulated with complex emotions. "We rebuilt from almost nothing. We transformed ourselves with technology you try to erase. We dedicated centuries to this moment of justice." "Not justice," Dr. Chen corrects gently from her transmission. "Revenge. Justice would be ensuring this never happens again to any species." On the bridge of the Defiance, Commander Wei makes a decision that will alter galactic history. She orders her crew to stand down weapons and lower shields, placing their lives entirely at the Arcturians' mercy. "What are you doing?" Lieutenant Rivera whispers. "Showing them we mean what we say." Wei responds, "Sometimes you have to risk everything for peace." One by one, human ships across the fleet follow suit, becoming defenseless targets. The Valdorian High Council watches in disbelief. The elder who had ordered the Arcturian genocide steps forward. "I offer myself. Take your vengeance on me alone." For what seems like eternity, the Arcturian fleet holds position, weapons charge. Then, slowly, impossibly, their systems power down too. We did not survive extinction only to become executioners, the Arcturian leader finally says. The old ways end today. Dr. Chen's image nods in approval. This is why we formed the Reconciliation Council, to create space for exactly this moment. Not to forget the past, but to ensure it doesn't determine our future. In the days that follow, representatives from hundreds of species converge on neutral territory. A space station built by the combined efforts of humans, Arcturians, and yes, Valdorians. The Galactic Concordat takes shape, establishing principles of cooperation and mutual defense that would have been unimaginable under our empire. The Valdorian elder who had ordered the Arcturian genocide works directly with survivors, documenting atrocities and establishing memorials across the galaxy. It's not forgiveness he seeks, but understanding, ensuring the truth is never forgotten. Commander Wei becomes the first human high representative to the new Galactic Council. When asked by a reporter why humans intervened to save a species that had planned to exploit them, her answer becomes famous across 1,000 worlds. Because ruling the stars means nothing if we lose our humanity in the process. As for me, I have a new role. No longer first observer studying species for potential exploitation, but instead Federation historian, ensuring the hard lessons of our past serve the future. The human concept of redemption remains strange to me, but I'm beginning to understand it. The stars don't belong to any single species. They never did. We Valdorians ruled the galaxy for 50,000 years and understood nothing of its true potential. It took humanity, curious, contradictory, compassionate humanity, to show us that the greatest power isn't dominion over others, but connection between equals. We ruled the stars until humanity answered back, and in that answer, we all found something better than power. We found purpose.